And coming to you live from Mustad, Mongolia. We are here with the 11th edition of the ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare. I am your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today I have El Agricultora Shandong himself, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? We're here with our weekly edition of ESL Open Cup, and oh boy, this is we talk about seeding every week.
It's kind of become a meme until it became not a meme, and yeah.
And there's a reason for that, with this first round match.
That it is. We do have a very juicy round of best of three to start us off with our first match, which is kind of actually unfortunate. We, of course, have one of the best Protoss, I would say the second best player in Australia, well, second best Protoss player in Australia, facing off against the Grand Platypus himself right in the first round. And yeah, I gotta tell you, Light, if Pezz, it's just gonna be unfortunate that either Pezz or Demi aren't gonna be advancing to the next round here.
Yeah, definitely. These two players have gone back and forth. In saying that, though, in recent weeks, Demi has been more and more in form. He's been making deeper and deeper runs. He's recently won a Grand Platypus Open, so it'll be cool to see how they shape up against each other this week.
All while the Dota 2 Battle Pass was going on.
Yeah, it's impressive. He's been holding himself back, or maybe he's been playing both. I don't know.
Oh, he's doing double time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing double time. Here we are in the top right-hand corner map, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream. L-E-E-L-E, Edle, if you will. We're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning in the top right-hand corner map. We do, of course, have our purple Protoss coming in all the way from the land of, I know this one, Sydney? We have, representing Mindfreak SC division, but that's basically the main division of Mindfreak itself, Mindfreak Gaming. It is Pezz. Dispenser.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. It is Demi.
Yeah, remind me to add an alias for Pezz later on.
Yeah. I was hoping that this name wouldn't last that long for Pezz, but he's committing to the meme.
Yeah, he is. Now, Pezz, of course, always known for kind of basically exactly what he's named right now, that second place naming.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. He's kind of become the Kong of the region in 2020. He's got, I think he tweeted recently, he's got like 5 or 6 second places this year. So it's a bit of a shame. He's come close so many times, and I can't wait to be here for when we finally see him take a win.
Is that a promise for us, Light?
I don't know.
Is that what you're going to be promised to the audience today? Look at them with their faces and whatnot.
I don't know if it's today. In general, we cast everything seeing an OCE related, so if he's gonna do it, we're gonna be there.
That we will. My name is crashed. Or froze, I should say. There we are. Whew. Okay. It's all good now.
Let him know if you're okay.
Yep. I don't think we're refs. I am not. Oh well.
Yeah, we're not refs.
But yeah, I had a hypothesis, Light. It's something that that Darking was talking about earlier this Saturday as well. When you press the hotkeys to follow a unit, when you do it on an Overlord, for some reason that freezes the game.
Yeah.
Other units, it's fine.
Happen every single time Darking DC'd. But Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we were talking about this last week as well because Demi, he did make another deep run. He took out Probe, if you recall, which was really
I
exciting to
do
see.
recall.
Yeah, it had a 6 series. And yeah, in the process, at least I was mentioning, and I stand by this, that I feel like Pezz does have the better PvZ. So yeah, we may see a closer series here. I say closer series, even though Demi 2-0'd Probe last week, like the games were insanely close. I don't know if
They
you
were
remember.
pretty close. I do remember. I specifically remember Probe clawing his way back from defeat,
Yeah.
only to be shoved back in, Spartan kicked back in by Demi towards the end there.
With our carriers, they were like incredibly long macro games. Eternal Empire, of course. Like, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful series.
It's a map that will be missed, although I think it's staying for next season.
Yeah, originally it wasn't staying. Yeah, and then recently Blizzard, I say recently, shortly after Blizzard announced the maps for the next season, they were like, oh no, yeah, we'll keep Eternal Empire.
Yeah.
Like after feedback.
They're like, oh yeah, we've looked at the map. It is not good. Purity and Mystery, that being. Speaking of not good, Pezz is doing the opposite of that. Doing pretty well here, and you mentioned it about Pezz's PvZ, and this is one of the reasons why his PvZ is definitely up there. That Adept printer, it's something that he really has committed to a lot of in recent patches for obvious reasons, I should say.
Yeah. Players like
But
Probe,
but he's one of the players who does it really well.
Yeah. Players like Probe, they prefer to go like Stargate opener, and they mix in Adept, Twilight Council Adept openers like every now and then. But Pezz, he's more comfortable with this. He excels in this, and okay, there is an Adept behind this, so Demi won't be getting into the natural, but will Demi be able to hold his third as the Adepts are here?
Well, the Rotron only now is completed. Queens are really low on energy. There's only one transfuse less available, and it has been used up. Pezz has the perfect opportunity to snipe these Queens, but here come the Lings, providing good enough of a buffer. Pezz is gonna have to back off.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, he needs to deal some kind of damage with this. Again, we've seen this kind of snowball. Like, we're going to see more and more warp-ins of Adepts, and we'll see how much he can get down. Ooh, behind this, though, Pezz.
Behind, although Pezz is really behind. But when enshrined, get that shrine.
Yeah. Something that's kind of interesting is that Pezz, he completely backed off with his Adepts. It looks like, yeah, he's got them back home, defending his third base, trying to expand. He does still have a War Prism across the map, so he can still deal some damage, but it looks like he wants to incorporate some DTs into this. And Demi, he doesn't even have Lair yet.
Yeah, it's only now about quarter of the way done, and this is what I'm really liking from Pezz here. He has, I have to get a little bit of pause here, but yes, I guess can get into it. This is what I'm liking about Pezz quite a bit. Pezz was, in the past, he was very committed to this Glaive Adept build, and usually when he did it, he was very stubborn. He was always morphing out or warping in more and more Adepts. He would usually try to transition out of it, but he would also kind of bang his head against the wall and sort of, just sort of force the Adepts to work, and more often than not, it didn't. I'm liking that he's just backing off now, focusing more on that transition.
I think he went to the third. He saw the amount of Queens that were there, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Like, I'm not gonna try and pressure this, like push this, because there were just so many there that they can defend well against Adepts. Like, normally, if there's a low Queen count, like the amount of Adepts can slowly chip away at them and then get a couple of them down, and then things can kind of escalate from there. But yeah, instead, Pezz, he decided to back off. So we'll see how he does now, as we do see him pushing across the map with these Adepts. At the same time, the Dark Shrine is about to finish up as well, as the War Prism is heading into the main.
Yep, that lair has just about finished up here for Demi. Is going to be getting an Overseer. And there are a couple of spores over here in the main base as well, so that that War Prism isn't going to get too much damage done. These Adepts are starting to waddle in, and they are looking to one-shot these Queens. Not quite enough, but the Transfuse just isn't fast enough to out-heal the DPS coming out from the Adepts. Pezz gets out of there, killing how many Queens? Two Queens.
Yeah, at the same time, four DTs were warped in, and they are getting some worker damage done in the main base. So
yeah, I did not matter that there was a detection there.
Yeah, nicely done so far. 6 workers. He didn't lose his DTs either. You can always morph them into Archons.
That he can, and that is what he should be looking to do fairly soon. Gonna be working on his transition now. Going to go into that Forge. And yeah, gonna be going into that Archon Immortal style that Protest players tend to like versus Roaches. Demi, on the other hand, already throwing down an Infestation Pit. He knows that the time has passed for this sort of Ling Roach style. He needs to move on.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried for Pezz because he did kill, like, what, 9 workers, which is nice to say the least, but at the end of the day, like, look at Demi's worker count. He's got 71 workers. Like, his economy isn't impeded at all.
Yeah, but you know what, like, that could have been 80. I know math.
it could have been 80. It could have been a lot worse. That is true. Pezz did need to deal that damage. And we'll see how much time he can buy with these Archons. That is the one thing going for him. There is very limited anti-air here for Demi. So, and he's even supply blocking Demi.
Yeah. But not anymore. It has 9 more Overlords get morphed in. I think that might be a little bit oversupply, but, you know, when you're playing against a player like Pezz, you're kind of expecting to lose a couple.
Yeah, definitely. As again, Pezz, he's doing what he can with these Archons, but Demi, oh my god, he's just getting ready to max out with Roaches.
Indeed, he is basically twice the army supply. Now he's actually twice the army supply, and they're both even in terms of workers. Pezz, he's not really well upgraded here. It could be a very dangerous move out. His +1 is not complete. His Stalkers that he's really invested a lot into do not have Blink quite yet. And this is really ballsy, which I can't really blame him. You know, he did see that 4th base being taken by Demi, so he knew that some kind of damage, whatever damage he did earlier, was not enough. He needed to equalize himself while he got his own base. But yeah, this is definitely a big risk that you're taking.
Definitely, and what I'm worried about is that the Sentry energy is getting lower and lower, so the amount of force fields are getting more limited as we do have Demi pushing into the 3rd base.
Yeah, the 1 Sentry that had enough energy for force fields had already been sniped out. Demi is just marching on in here, morphed almost all of these Roaches into Ravagers. Immortals do not have a good time against that at all. These shield batteries are already running out of energy, but as you said, yeah, the cannons did finish up and provides just enough of a boost here to chase Demi away. But he will still continue to fight here outside of cannon range.
Yeah, that was actually really close. It looked like a little bit of an anti-timing because the defensive structures for Pezz just hadn't finished up quite yet, but they do just in time. He holds his 3rd, but he lost so many mortals in that engagement. I don't know how much longer he can hold on.
That is definitely something to be concerned about in Pezz's shoes. Demi just traded so efficiently, taking out basically all of the high-tech units. And now he's continuing to stream in. I'm not sure how much I like this, the amount of Roaches that Demi has here. Might do a little better to have a couple of Ravagers. But at the same time, in saying that, it's a lot of Stalkers, which Roaches do decently well against. Demi, you don't want to let that... Purification Nova did manage to complete, and that is the equalizer. Look at the army supply. That went from the triple digits to the double digits there for Demi. And now he's starting to build back up, but it's enough momentum here for Pezz to really move across the map.
Yeah, and I was about to say, like, as you were saying that Demi, he didn't really have a good Ravager count, and that's because as the game was going on, Pezz was sniping more and more Ravagers, and slowly he was able to grind Demi down to just a pure, almost Roach composition, and that's exactly what Pezz wanted, and now he's able to swing the momentum into his favor, and push across the map. He's already on 4 bases, like, they're kind of equal. Demi only just now throwing down his 5th.
Indeed, he is. And now, once again, the ball is very much so in Pezz's court. Demi is not going to be pushing, not going to be going for any sort of pressure here, which I do like a lot. Demi knows that he is on the back foot. He is going to have to play very defensively, but here comes Pezz with a triple prong harass. Demi pulling his entire army to deal with this charge run by. Exactly. And here it is. Pezz is going to back away.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, I do like this because Lings were flooding from the main base, so he could have gotten surrounded, so he does have to be careful. At the same time, he is harassing the main, and the most important thing, even though Pezz isn't pulling the trigger, he did deny that 5th base, delaying the economy of Demi even further, and you never want to be on equal bases in this matchup. As a Zerg.
Yeah, not yeah. As a Protoss player, you don't want to be above unless you know that you're completely safe.
Yeah, yeah. And with this, like, more AoE, oh my god, are we gonna end up in a base trade? Are we gonna see a recall? Like, oh god.
I think we very well might here, Light. Demi is kind of forcing the situation here. Going to be going in, at least sniping this fourth base. Meanwhile, Pezz is moving in onto the hatchery of Demi, and should be able to take this down. This is a base trade for the Aegis here. But one thing to keep in mind is that Pezz does in fact have recall, is going to be throwing down a fifth base as well that Demi has no clue about.
Yeah, and Pezz, he does need to, like, he does need to be a little bit more aggressive on the other side of the map. But with Colossus, like, and he recalls as well. He can, if he beats this army, he can take the game.
He very much so can. Nice biles, but it's not going to be enough to take out much of anything. Meanwhile, we do still have a pretty furious force out here for Pezz out fighting on the map. A couple of Mutalisks, that is what Demi is known for. These are mostly going to be used to snipe that Warp Prism, try to get a purification? No, the thing that produces the purification novas. Disruptors, yeah, that's a word. Yeah. Got a couple of these disruptors here and there, and Demi is keeping it hidden right now, which I like a lot.
I love the way Demi's playing this because he knows that he can't win in a straight-on engagement. So he's going for reinforcements, he's getting counterattacks, he's going to pick off a Colossus. Like, this is exactly what he needs to do. But we'll see how much Pezz can get done because Demi, he's completely forfeiting his side of the map.
Oh, look at these Colossus, Light! Look at these Colossus, but the Mutalisks do not jump for it. Right call, IMO. To be able to, yeah, take that out and just prevent any more reinforcements from morphing in at the other side of the map. Meanwhile, Demi is right up into Pezz's natural, and this is a base trait if I have ever seen one, Light.
Yeah, and recall's on cooldown. He recalled earlier, so he won't be able to do it again.
Yeah, indeed he did. There are a couple of Archons here up in the main base of Pezz. Just provide a little bit of defense. These Mutalisks are pretty scary. This is an apocalypse of Mutas that's coming out on top of the map. Demi, meanwhile, trying to get his ninja bases up. And yeah, the defensive forces left for Pezz are about to be taken out.
Honestly, the Mutalisks for Demi could win him this game. Like, they're so maneuverable, and they're going to be able to find the hidden bases of Pezz. But to be fair, he does have a lot of cannons. We'll see how these Mutalisks, how he can deal with this. And
one thing to keep in mind is that Pezz, he is on the lookout as well, sending out a lot of charge shots to the corners of the map. Demi is going to have to think about playing this offensively a little bit. And this is starting to get really scrappy.
Yeah, the problem is that I don't think Pezz, all the cannons get depowered, so they're not going to be able to protect the Nexus, and I think Demi might be able to take this. I don't think Pezz knows about the bottom right base or the top left hatchery either.
Well, Pezz just went to the top left hand and saw nothing going on there, so in his mind, there's just nothing there. But at the same time, Demi doesn't have enough to get a hatchery. He's 10 minerals short.
Yeah, and it looks like Pezz is trying to catch those Mutalisks with his main army, with his Blink Stalkers, but the Mutalisks do back off, and
so maneuverable, as you were saying, Light.
Yeah.
And now, Pezz is being revealed. But now Pezz is now fully aware of this hatchery of Demi. Meanwhile, he did get another hatchery up in north. This is going to be it. This pylon should be the final building alongside this Robo Bay. But Pezz is doing a pretty good job of kiting. This pylon is so low. I'm just looking at the minimap right now, and yeah, there's just not a lot of anything. He has a gas? Yes, it is. A simulator, yep, with a pylon.
Yeah. Oh, but the Mutalisks, I think they found it.
They have, in fact, found it, but there's still that pylon up in north, and that's where the main army is at. There are a lot of stalkers right now. Demi has to be so careful not to lose his entire Mutalisk force. And now it's just down to one pylon versus two hatcheries.
Yeah, one of them is on fire. So, Pezz, he does know about that bottom right base, but oh my god, like it's so tempting as Demi to just dive on that pylon, and he could do it. He could just do it to end the game.
That, in fact, he could. And he's going for it. He's going for it. GG is called. Pezz gonna be tapping out right before that pylon went down. Whoa, that went down to the absolute wire, Light.
Oh my god, GG. It's honestly, if you're in Demi's shoes, he made all the right calls. In a head-on engagement, Pezz wins 100%.
He does.
he has the better army in every respect. So if you're Demi, that's what you want to do. You want to avoid that engagement and force Pezz into this awkward base trade position, and he was able to do that flawlessly. I love the Mutalist switch. Demi's kind of known for it, and in this kind of situation, like that's kind of what he needed.
It very much so is. I was kind of yeah, I was kind of doubting the choice of Mutas for a little bit. I just kind of thought, wouldn't you rather have Corruptors in this sort of situation, you know, if you were gonna fight a head-on engagement? But in the end, as you saw, that was not at all where Demi was thinking. He was 10 steps ahead, and we didn't even know what game we were playing.
He was 10 steps ahead, and Pezz didn't even know what game we were playing. He was like, "Yo, I'm ready for this fight," and it just never came. Demi just bypassed the army entirely, and GG.
G to the G, W to the P. And now, again, this is the first round of the evening. That was the first game of the evening. Should be a good sign. Fingers crossed. And speaking of good signs, here is one of them. Looking at it, this sort of decal where we are going to be spawning in onto Eternal Empire Ile, which Light, I gotta tell you, they realized that with the name Eternal Empire, they couldn't get rid of it after just one season. Let's be real, that was what really went on. Where, speaking of which, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map spawning, in the bottom left-hand corner of Ile, we do in fact have our purple Protoss coming in all the way from the land of Sydney. We have gonna be representing Mindfreak, the StarCraft division. He is one of the favorites, I would actually say, in this entire bracket, but now he's gonna have to pull off that reverse sweep. Can he do it, Light? We do in fact have Pezz, otherwise known as second place.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. Going for a hatch gas pool, it is Demi.
And as we were talking a little bit about it earlier today, Light, Eternal Empire is just a very much of a macro map, which we do see both our players kind of opting for.
Yeah, it does seem that way, as this map is either incredibly like macro-centric or incredibly cheesy for players who don't want to play macro on this map. It's like one end or the other, and it does seem like with these standard openings, we are going to be heading into a longer game. And yeah, we'll see how Pezz does. I do kind of want to favor Pezz a little bit more on this map. I feel like, especially with watchtowers, it'll be harder to get caught out of position and a little bit easier to keep an eye on your enemy army, So yeah, hopefully, or maybe we'll see Pezz fight back and take it to the ace match.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
So I really have to add there. Like, but till then, we're just gonna be looking at this production bar and trying to what's it called? Articulate it. Humanize Carapace coming up from Demi, and this is pretty common in a ZVP, but not very common for Demi, I would say.
Yeah, and it's... Yeah, I do like that he is getting Overlord speed to make sure he does get the scout off, especially since we do have Pezz diverging his opener a little bit.
Yeah, who were we casting last week, Light, where it was ZVP and we really needed them to get Overlord speed or just some kind of a scout?
Was it during Sentimental Latino?
It might have been.
Yeah.
No, I think it was
maybe.
true.
It may have been true. Either way, like Demi, he's diving in and he should spot this if he doesn't.
It's just barely. Okay, he changes the way he's going for it and does now see the Stargate. Not sure if he saw the Oracle coming up, but at the very least, he immediately throws out a couple of spores, one in the main and one in the natural. Gonna be continuing that queen production. More than likely gonna be sending it over to that third base location, or hear me out, Light. Not.
Or nuts. And we'll see what Pezz decides to go for. You know, there are different variations of the Stargate opener. There's one Oracle, there's two Oracle, or there's triple Oracle, as so far we do have a second Oracle on the way as well. I think we were casting, yeah, Dastan or another Protoss player who, like, every single ZVP,
it was
PvZ.
Dastan, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's just mass Oracle every game.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
Ooh.
yeah, Pezz is not going to be going for that. Instead, opting for the double Oracle into Phoenix. Now, this is pretty interesting. Typically, you normally see it the other way around, a single Phoenix into double Oracle.
Yeah, and he did go for that Oracle first, hoping to try and sneak it out before it got scouted, but Demi, he was on top of his scouting. He even went in with his Overlord a second time, now even checking the natural as well. Demi, he has all the information he needs.
Exactly, he is all up here. He is a scholar, is what he is. He knows everything. He sees that robo switch coming out from Pezz, which tells him that that Pezz isn't going to be too committed to this sort of Stargate style, which is very important as a Zerg player. You got to know whether you're going Roaches or you're going Hydras. Or in Demi's case, if you're going Spire, I guess.
I mean, there is a lot of flexibility for Protoss. You know, you can throw down a second Stargate and go Mass Phoenix or what have you. You know, there are definitely different options to go for. And, you know, Pezz, he does get a little bit of damage with his Oracles. I think he got 5 worker kills in all. You know, he keeps his Oracles alive as well for scouting. So, you know, he's also doing fairly well.
He is. Meanwhile, Demi once again just going to keep on going for these scouts. And finally going to be denied it. Most likely because these are ground units. Did I say most likely? I meant because.
Ooh, okay, this is interesting. So we do have a Spire on the way for Demi. Is it within range of the... No, it is not. So Pezz, even though he did Revelation the Hatchery, he does not see the Spire. He has no idea that it is coming. But he still has his 2 Oracles alive, so he could end up scouting it later with them.
Yeah, and this is basically what you want to do as the Protoss player when you get to this stage of the game. Just want to not necessarily be throwing away your Oracles, but you want to be taking a bit more risks with them. Yeah.
Just diving in when you can, just trying to make sure you know what kind of tech the Zerg opponent is going for, especially against Demi. You know, he is really known for going Spire, but he doesn't do it every game, so you do need to be on top of it. You do need to know when you need to transition. And in Pezz's case, you need to know when to start making Phoenixes, right? Like, for those Mutalisks.
Yeah, you do that, you do. But Pezz is gonna be settling for, I wouldn't say second best, but the other way to counter Mutalisks in when you open up with a double Oracle Phoenix. It is in fact gonna be Storm with a couple of Archons.
Yeah, Archons will help a lot, but again, like, Pezz, he still doesn't know that the Mutalisks are coming, so he doesn't know to prioritize Archons over Storm or over High Templar, so this tech switch could completely catch him off guard, like, especially since, like, the main army doesn't have a lot of anti-air. Like, the Mutalisks could even just dive on top of, like, the Sentries and High Templar and just snipe them. It's, like, the army feels very vulnerable right now.
Oh, it really does, doesn't it? It's basically a cannon and a stalker right now, as it means for anti-air.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, but now the Hallucinate Phoenix does in fact manage to see the Spire. Nicely done by Pezz. Even scouts off the Mutalisks that are coming out and immediately goes in to start building the Phoenixes. But is it too late? It's going to have to be the question. Demi already with 15 Mutalisks coming out across the map, and with his Lings as well. There is a wall here for Pezz, so that will buy quite a bit of time, but is it too weak of a wall?
Yeah, we'll see. As you were saying, is it too late? He does know what he's up against, but he only has a couple of Phoenixes. He does have Storm, though.
He does. There are still a couple of Storms left available for Pezz right now, and this is actually a really precarious situation right now for Pezz. He doesn't have a lot of Stalkers. If he tries to go for a Storm, he'll end up storming his own units, like so. And now that was honestly just a little bit of a waste there. Demi still managing to keep a ton of these Mutalisks alive. Only 3 of them went down that game, and now he's ready for round 2. Another storm being thrown down, and that's actually the final one that that Pezz does have.
God.
Now gonna be focusing on top of the Archon. Is this gonna be it, Light?
It could be like a potentially game-ending damage has already been done by these Mutalisks. Like, so many workers have gone down. All the High Templar and their storms were wasted trying to kill the Mutalisks. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, Pezz, he is trying to bank up a Phoenix count, but with only 1 Stargate, like, you can only do so much with it. And like, he can fight against this army, but oh my god, Demi gets another Phoenix.
Fielding himself a little bit here. Yeah, Demi swoops in, gets that 4th base, and Pezz could really not do a lot about it there. And this is a snowball that we generally look for in basically any versus Protoss match. Yeah, like Pezz, he is finally now throwing down his 2nd Stargate, which he absolutely needs for double Phoenix production, but again, the damage has already been done. Like, he really needed to scout this tech much earlier than he did, and as a result, we can see how much damage these Mutalisks are doing. More workers are going down, more units are going down, and Demi, he's committing to this. He is, in fact, going to be committing straight on to this. But, you know, I tell you what, like, the blinks for Pezz are actually doing a pretty dang good job. And Pezz, he's going to have to be a little bit ballsy with these Phoenixes. I get it. But he is keeping them alive. I say that, but one of them did go down. But you know what? If he can continue to bank out this Phoenix count, he's just using his Stalkers to buy himself some time here. I can eventually see Pezz turn this game completely on its head, but not if Demi is on top of his macro and on top of his transitions, which right now he in fact is getting +2 flyers, getting a 6 base. Is that?
Yes, it's a 6th base, and Pezz is only on 3 bases. To be fair, it is definitely possible for Pezz to like to muster up a strong enough army to push out across the map and maybe kill all the Mutalisks. And Demi will have to rely on his remax, but again, like it's gonna be very difficult to pull off.
Yeah, exactly. If Demi gets to a position where has to rely on his remax, well, I tell you what, like, he's already almost maxed out.
Yeah.
And he's just banking those minerals up. This is a huge storm, though. 2 huge storms. Demi, a little bit preoccupied here, not really looking there. And that was a lot of damage being done on the Mutalisks, but now there's just not a lot of AoE. And will it matter, though? These Mutalisks are so low.
Yeah. And that was a good start for Pezz. He was able to shave off a large amount of those Mutalisks, but as you were saying, like, the bank of Demi was high enough where he's making 14 Mutalisks to replace the ones he just lost, and Pezz, because of his low economy, it's difficult for him to remake the army that he just lost in comparison. He is trying to make a couple more High Templar. He needs those storms. I would say that he needs Archons more than anything right now. They help against the ground army and the Mutalisks as well, but instead prioritizing those storms, and we'll see if he can hold the 2nd push.
Well, when you're up against Riddling Bane, you really cannot afford to allow any of those units to connect, and these are huge stasis wards. Yeah, these Banelings are not going to be connecting anytime soon. These Mutalisks are still standing pretty tall and standing pretty strong. Is it going to be enough here? The Phoenixes are doing an amazing job of taking out these Mutalisks, but in the end, it wasn't enough. On the phone. Yeah, once the Mutalisks could actually get their attention away from the ground army and into the air army, Pezz, like all of us, just kind of saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, GG, well played. Demi does take down Pezz, and again, like, Pezz, he that game, especially, Demi was looking really strong, really dominant, just hiding that tech for so long. But game number 1, it really could have gone either way. Like, again, like, Pezz was looking so good in game number 1 if a head-on engagement happened. You know, he definitely is a player that can take it to Demi, and it's a shame that they met in the first round, as we were saying. But you know, Demi advances, and he already has his opponent waiting for him.
And indeed it is, and this is going to be a juicy one, Light. And I was actually looking at this before we started. I thought, ooh, Pezz versus Demi. We're going for that. And then I looked at their opponent in the round of 16. I thought, yes, please.
Yeah.
We do, of course, have the best Australian Terran player. Oh, wait, no, Hut signed up. We do, in fact, have one of the best Australian. Wait, Run Amok plays Zerg. No, he plays
Terran as well.
Terran as well. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. Okay, well, here. Okay. We do, in fact, have one of the best Terran players in the region. I would argue the most consistent Terran player. It is the old rivalry from way back in the day, and by way back in the day, I mean 2019. Like 8 months ago. It's going to be reignited here in the round of 16. Demi versus Azure. The shark versus the fisherman. Man with harpoon.
The shark hunter, if you will.
Shark hunter. Yeah, Crocodile Hunter was copyrighted.
Yeah, and Azure, you know, he is a top 3 Terran, you know, of course the top 3 being Hut, Seether, and Azure. But as you were saying, Azure, unlike Seether and Hut, he never left StarCraft 2, you know. Hut, he only recently came back. Seether, he played StarCraft 2 occasionally, mainly focusing on Tarkov. But Azure, he's always been there, and especially when it comes to the online tournaments, like every single week, like he played, he competed, and that's where that rivalry started. That's where his rivalry against Demi started. He was also kind of the Kong of the region, or of at least Grand Platypus Open, which is our ANZ tournament that we ran, or that we still run. And yeah, like they countless times Demi and Azure met in the finals, or sometimes not even in the finals, and Azure was kind of the only one who could take maps off of Demi. And that culminated in recently Azure finally winning a GPO.
It did. Did he beat Demi that week? I don't particularly remember, but either way, that was an amazing run nonetheless by our Australian Terran player. I was trying to think of an adjective I can throw in there, like our consistent Australian Terran player. Actually, consistent kind of works.
Yeah, and I'm just checking. So Azure, for GPO number 25, he won the tournament, beating Demi in the finals.
There you go. That was the reversal. Mm-hmm. Well, I say reversal, but Azure has been Demi in the past before. Not in the finals, though. That was the first time, and really was a long time coming. It was a while ago. I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, it was a while ago. But again, like these,
June.
Like these two. Yeah, I keep saying it. We're already halfway through, man. Halfway through 2020.
You said that, but you started saying we were halfway through 2020 when we were a third through 2020.
Look, I'm just 2 months ahead, right? That's. But. Yeah. So I am looking forward to see this matchup once again, especially because Demi, he's more in form. Azure is more in form as well, since, you know, he was able to take that win finally. It was his first GPO win after coming second so many times. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how they shape up against each other. And
a quick little update for you, Light.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from this, this is gonna be. I think we have just about picked the juiciest player to follow here, Light, because coming out of round 16, I'm looking at the quarterfinals right now, it's going to be Probe.
Oh, yeah.
The undisputed best ANZ player. He is... I mean, he has looked quite vulnerable in these past couple of weeks, being taken out by the likes of, say, Demi, as well as Seether, amongst others. But there's just no denying it. There's just no denying it. Like when it comes to the major tournaments and whatnot, Probe is always the one that absolutely performs, and he performs consistently.
For the longest time, Probe, he has been the best in the region, undisputedly. But as you were saying, in recent times, you know, we have Hut returning. Seether, he's put away Tarkov, you know, like a little bit.
He's escaped, playing, if you will.
Yeah, he's escaped Tarkov. He's playing more StarCraft. So it's exciting because now I would say the competition is a little bit harder. Like it isn't crystal clear that Probe is on top of everyone as it was previously. You know, maybe especially with the upcoming DreamHack qualifiers, like Hut, Seether, they could cause a little bit of upsets, or maybe establish themselves as the next like dominant Australian Terran, or Australian player, I should say. So that's also why it's pretty exciting times.
Yeah, that is going to be the major tell there, is to or what to look out for. That being okay, let me finish my initial thought before I go into the second thought that I had. They just kind of clashed in my brain. I'm like, oh, say both. No, one at a time, brain. Okay, my initial thought, gonna have to be looking out for the qualifiers. And the interesting thing about Probe, though, is in the past 2 years or so, Probe didn't always come in first in the qualifiers. He actually only came in second or third, but because that was enough to actually gain him a spot in these WCS tournaments, when he actually flew out and played, he ended up being the player from the region who placed the furthest. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think for those 2 years, it was Probe alongside Seether. Seether was probably the other prominent player. You know, Seether, he also qualified to go for the offline events as well, and they were kind of the duo. And yeah, we'll see if that changes. We'll see if the status quo stays the same. And yeah, especially because nowadays, like, Miyamika is looking pretty terrifying as well. Demi is on the rise.
There are just so many teams that want Miyamika. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
So
and like for the people watching and who've been tuning in to these tournaments over the past couple of months, whether it be this tournament, ESL Open Cups, or Grand Platypus Opens, like it's gonna be a bit of a tell of who to keep an eye on this weekend, as this weekend are the ANZ qualifiers for DreamHack.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days, 3 qualifiers, and we're gonna be casting that here on this channel.
That indeed we will.